We're a council made of 7 people. 4 makes a quorum. As you can see, there's only 3 here. For those of you who are interested in becoming an RMAC member and maybe aspiring to greater things, like maybe becoming someday on AVEC, like Keith Dias has been for the last 22 years, like the long-term big-time representative for Rosamond, this is a good place to start and learn about public government. We do have 1 application in already tonight to fill Vern Foley's term out, at least through November. There's 6 seats that are up that you need to sign up for in mid-July through the first week in August. There's 2 2-year terms, so if you're not really sure you want to do it, but you want to give it a shot, those 2 2-year terms might be one you want to shoot for. And there are 4 4-year terms that are open for you to sign up for come July. And usually, if you check with the registrar's office, they come out one Tuesday to Mojave where you can sign up. You don't have to drive all the way to Bakersfield to sign up. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. And having said that, we do have the Lifetime Achievement Award person can't make it here. So we're going to do the Person of the Year. And if she would come forward, before she comes forward, let me read about her. Paulette Rush is the Community Relations Specialist for Mid-American Solar Star Projects. She's helped facilitate Mid-American support of our schools, Southern Suburban Unified School District, Chamber of Commerce and service organizations. Beyond financial support, she's coordinated blood drives, restocked food banks, sponsored 4-H clubs, and organized toy drives during the holidays. Her tireless efforts have resulted in positive impacts felt by the entire Rosamond area since Mid-American Solar joined our community last year. We are grateful for Mid-American Solar's support of our community and recognize Paulette Rush for all her hard work. Would you come up, Paulette? Would you have something? Paulette was just named to the Greater Antelope Valley Economic Alliance Board of Directors here today. Is that
I was.
Actually, she was elected.
It's a big day.
Take this off. That's right. Stand up on the
floor. So it looks like.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much to RMAC and for the community. When I first came into this community, I am from Tehachapi, so obviously I've known Rosamond for quite some time, Little League games, football games, things like that. But it's really become my community as well. I've been welcomed by pretty much everybody, been able to come to meetings, make friends, and I've considered this also my home. So thank you guys very, very much for the warm welcome all year.
Well, thank you, Paulette. He has a small business here in town, and I don't know if he or his wife Kathy named it, but I really like the name because it really says, I'm here and I'm proud of what I do. The name of his shop is the best bike shop ever. Not just the best bike shop, it's the best bike shop ever. And he is here to speak to us. He also has, 2 children? They live here. They've gone to the Rosamond schools. And he's going to speak to us on healthy living. Will you please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Dusty Bigger. You can talk here if you like. You can talk here. We have a microphone if you need it.
No, I'm sure everybody can hear me just fine. As Olaf said, my name is Dusty. A little bit about myself. I will be 41 years old come August. This is actually my second shop. I own one in Michigan. Sold it, moved out here. I like this community. I like it a lot. It's got phenomenal biking. The people are absolutely wonderful. I've only been here 5 years now. My wife and I bought the house. It's been super cool, actually. It's been a lot of fun. Probably one of my favorite parts about being here is meeting all the people and getting to know everybody. Olaf actually called me and asked me if I would speak about something, and I didn't really have anything to say, but the only thing, he's like, well, you can talk about trails, you can talk about bikes, you can kind of talk about anything. Well, interestingly enough, what's been on my mind most recently is health. I actually spent a day in the hospital a few months ago because I was having chest pains, and nobody knew why. They had me hooked up to all the machines and everything. I live pretty healthy, at least I try to anyway. And anyway, long story short, after a day in the emergency room, it came to find out that it was just stress related. I had no health issues, anything like that, you know, I could have esophagus cancer or, you know, heart attack or something, you know, of that nature. So I was a little scared. So that kind of sparked me with actually with the cancer research, because I helped on the run, walk, and ride last year with Greg, the cancer walk, and that was a lot of fun. I actually stepped down from that because it takes a lot of my time, and it's hard for me because I do have a small business and my son and I run it, so sometimes it does get pretty hectic for me, and it's hard with the schedule and the family home, because most importantly is my family. So I have dogs and cats, which are part of my family, and obviously my wife, so we have to take care of everybody. But I won't take up too much of your time, because I know we have you know,
No, we're here
a lot
for
of
a
time.
reading, but go ahead.
But anyway, so what I'm getting at is healthy living is super important, and since I've been doing some research on living healthy and being healthy, what I found out more than anything is that your immune system is the most important key to health. The most important way to actually defend against cancer, which is a big thing that everybody's afraid of, and there's millions of dollars every year dumped into funds to help, you know, find a cure for cancer, but that's not actually correct. Cancer is not a disease. A disease is something foreign to the body. Cancer is not foreign to the body. Any cell has a chance to mutate into cancer. If the cell mutates more than twice, it has an opportunity to become cancer and grow. If your immune system is too clogged up with fat, crappy food, processed things, preservatives, pretty much anything you buy at the grocery store, on the internal parts of the grocery store is loaded with all of that. If you flip over the label and actually read what people are eating and what we ingest every day, you know, you can't even pronounce probably 90% of the label. So it's kind of like, is that really what I want to eat? So with that, I can just go in really in small detail of what this is, and I don't proclaim myself to be a whiz on this or anything. You can research this all for yourself, and you'll find out the same things I did. Your immune system, the first line of defense against cancer, your T cells, are actually the smallest cells you have to fight this. And your T cells will recognize the cancer if it's not busy with anything else. So if this isn't busy, it'll actually take care of the cancer right away. And everybody has cancer in their body right now. It's taken care of on a daily basis. You don't even know it. The T cells actually produce three chemicals: hydrogen peroxide, nitric oxide, and hydrochloride, which is the active ingredient in bleach. Those three things are activated. The T cells will kind of buddy up with the cancer, and it'll just kind of stick a little needle into it, and they'll kill it. And then the cancer goes through the lymphatic system, gets lymph nodes, and it gets chewed up by bigger cells, and then spit out through your kidneys and dispersed throughout your body. Now that's kind of where, you know, the healthy living comes into. Your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like your heart pumps. It's being pumped by movement. You have to have some sort of movement that's low impact, because you don't want to destroy your joints or anything like that. So, you know, if you can segue into bicycling, bicycling is a perfect way to get your body moving, because as your body moves, it actually pumps the lymphatic system, which gets everything going and cleans it out. There's also an exercise, what they call rebounding. You can get yourself a little trampoline that has at least 4-inch springs. A lot of them that they sell at like Sports Lane, things like that, will have 2-inch springs. I'm not selling anything because I don't sell them in my store, so this isn't a pitch. It's just what I've been reading. They call it rebounding. If you can bounce on a trampoline for about 2 minutes every hour, and obviously we're all pretty busy, so I would say if you actually have, you know, if you found a tumor or something like that, and you've been to the doctor, getting a tumor isn't a death sentence. There's plenty of reports. There's hundreds of documented cases of people having tumors. There's a guy in Washington that had one larger than a volleyball in his stomach. They told him he had 4 months to live, so he went home, cleaned up his diet, cleaned up his water, did these, you know, followed this strict regimen. He actually got rid of it within 4 to 5 months. So, and the doctors were all amazing. These stories are everywhere. So it's not just something that's out there. It's actually happening. The rebounding exercise is actually for your lymphatic system. It's for your T cells and your B cells, the cancer-fighting agents, and the ones that will take care of any viruses you have, because they need exercise as well. The rebounding is super low impact. Excuse me. So as you jump up and down, these cells, you know, they're round by nature, but they actually have arms that will reach out this way and reach up this way. So as you're doing a light bounce up and down on this trampoline, your cells are actually trying to stay in place to do their job. So then they got to exercise to stay in place and do their job. What happens is they grow 20% bigger, and they'll actually your immune system will create 14 times the amount of cells, fighting cells, in that 1 to 2 minutes. Now, after an hour passes, your system will go back to normal. So that's why they say do it again. So it's kind of like do it as much as you can, as much as your daily schedule will allow. Even if you're healthy, you can do it to just be like, okay, cancer is probably the only thing that scares me to death. I mean, I don't, I've had family members die of it, and knowing what I know now, it's kind of disheartening because you don't really have to die from this disease. To treat it, they'll treat it with radiation, chemotherapy, things like that, but that's not good either because all of those cancers are cells, so you have the stuff that kills the cell, but if it's killing a cancer cell or a bad cell, it's also killing your good cells, which are your T cells and your B cells and your fighting cells.
Last month was extremely busy for us. For the county, Rosamond substation had more arrests than any other substation in Kern County last month. That's including Lamont, that has twice as many deputies and a bunch of issues, so it was very busy. We had 89 arrests, 1,081 calls for service, 27 of the drug cases, and just a variety of other cases. We had a couple high-profile cases, including some search warrants that made the news and everything, including one of our local attorneys we did the search warrant on. My boss told me to say we were going to do another attorney that day, but decided to hold off on that one.
Should Olaf be worried?
No, but seriously though, no. That night we had that. We had another subject during that same night where we responded to a call of assault, and through that investigation, they came back the next night, served another search warrant, recovered 5 explosive devices and other drugs and paraphernalia. So it's been very active around here lately.
Yeah, that's on, I don't know if you know it, on the I am Rosamond. It's actually on Facebook right now. That just showed Ryan for that item.
The arrest and the assault did result in...
The assault with the bombs.
The bombs and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's...
in the last week, I've arrested one. One we took to Mary Kay Shell because she's got several mental issues. The first portion is the stores and everything have to say they don't want them there. And a lot of the time they're hesitant. Now they're getting to the point where they're actually telling us, yes, they can't be here, and we can then give the notification, and then they can't be there, we're trespassing. Like I said, we have been arresting. We arrested one the other day. She actually hit one of the deputies with her sign when we got there, and so she went to jail for a few things. But when you see that, call us, because then we can get right over there and deal with it. And we do get the calls, but a lot of people don't say anything. They don't call us. So that's why, unless somebody calls and complains, and unless the store says they can't be here, we don't have any legal authority. So when you call, that thing gives us the authority to deal with it.
Well, it's dropped to less. It's dropped from 50 parts per billion down to 10 parts per billion.
Oh, that was in the budget itself?
That was in the budget, and it was something. It wasn't a bill. It was something that was written into the budget. How it got there, I do not know, but it was in there. And when the budget passed last week, that passed also, which means now that we're in pretty good shape with our wells. But at some point, we may have to look to mitigate some of these wells with that chromium-6 level. On the far west end, a lot of our wells have a chance of being contaminated with chromium-6, and that could become a real big serious issue somewhere down the line. It's still being looked at. There's some remedies for it that we're looking into, but that could be looming on the front very, very soon. But that happened, it was put in there by the Department of Health for the state of California. And the reason wound up in the budget issue, I don't know, but it's there, and when the budget was approved, that was approved.
Does the governor have the right to blue pencil that at all?
We would hope he did, but it was a lot of talk going on about it all off. But as of this point now, when he signed the budget, it became part of it. There's still talks going on with various groups, because that could have some serious impact. Some of the water agencies already, not us here in Rosamond, but some of the other agencies already are looking at over $50 million to try to mitigate that chromium 6.
Right. On Friday, June 13th, we transferred the property that's next to the chamber. It cost $20,000. The solar and wind people donated the money to make it all possible. So it's going to be our new REC, or the new Rosamond Event Center for our downtown area. And on September 27th, we're going to have our parade in Septemberfest. And I think on the 25th, they're supposed to vote on approving the downtown Diamond Street project that's been put on hold for a little while. So that should be coming together quickly.
June 25th, who's going to vote on it?
People in Sacramento.
It's, most of the water purveyors, especially in the Antelope Valley, are able to provide for their customers this year, but that basically uses up pretty much all the reserves between the carryover water that some of the agencies have, water banking and so on, taking water out of wells and so on. So hopefully next year will be better from a rain and a snow situation, but let's keep our fingers crossed, because like I say, this year they're pretty much able to provide for everybody, but it's using up pretty much all the reserves. Last AVEC meeting was a good presentation on the Antelope Valley Integrated Regional Water Management Plan. That's really the 2013 update to the 2007 plan. It is available to the public at www.avwaterplan.org if anyone would like to look at it.
Is this something that AVEC puts out, or is that something?
No, it is put out by an integrated group of water purveyors throughout the Antelope Valley. There's 11 members. RCSD is a member of it. AVEC is a member of it. Pretty much everybody throughout the Antelope Valley. Very interesting plan. It's 779 pages long, by the way, but it is an integrated plan for what can and should be done as far as water for the future. Again, it's the update from the 2007 version. Probably the most significant, or one of the most significant things, is the predictions for how many folks would be, what the population would be in the year by about 2035 has changed considerably through the various reasons for not as much growth as what has been predicted in 2007. Of course, that was before a lot of the economic changes that we've had over the last few years. At that point in time, they were predicting by 2035 there'd be over 1 million people in the Antelope Valley. The latest prediction is 547,000 by the year 2035. As you can imagine, predicting or the prediction of 1 million people, the plan attempts to, if you will, look at what shortages there may be and how you would make up those shortages between now and then. For 547,000 people, which is probably a more realistic prediction based upon the last few years of growth or lack thereof, they're probably a lot closer to being able, with various projects and so on that have been proposed, to provide for that number of people. One of the things that's in the plan are a number of projects that have been put in there by a number of agencies. AVEC, RCSD has got several in there also. In general, what needs to happen is you have to have a project proposed in there in order to get state funding in the future for many of the grants that are out there. There was a lot of hope from a few months ago that the fact that the state said that we're in a water emergency, and the grant funding that was out there, there was some talk about we would get additional, we being the citizens, the agencies for the citizens, get additional funds for drought type or drought relief type of projects. It turned out that it really wasn't the case. What they did was just move up some money from next year to this year. The problem is even with all the timing that would go into that, the projects wouldn't be in place until after September, which is almost, quote, too late for this water year. Anyway, there's the allocation to the state water contractors from the state of 5% of their normal allocation is still sitting there, but that doesn't happen until, it doesn't come about until after the 1st of September.
Want to thank the high school football staff and the players that came out with us this May 31st and helped us put on our first annual Rosamond Youth Football and Cheer Clinic. And also this weekend, June 21st, is our last scheduled sign-ups, ages 5 through 14. And our season will begin officially July 21st, and we get really excited for that. Thank you.
July 21st, you see that.
And I'm John Gibson. I'm the attorney for the Rosamond Service District. And I'm also a subject of one of the resolutions, so that I do have some substantial knowledge on what these resolutions contain. And as to this first resolution, 1318, I noticed one of the things, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because I do have limited time, that on each of your resolutions, you state that the above recitals are true, and there's a number of recitals. One of them, for example, is that the Rosamond Municipal Advisory Council has reviewed the cost-benefit analysis and the need for public safety. Has the board reviewed
That's what we're doing, sir.
an analysis such as that? Have you reviewed a cost-benefit analysis?
Do you have a comment to make, sir? Or
Yeah, my question is, did you review some document or some item, and did each member, or does each member, understand that the resolution asks or states that you've reviewed a cost-benefit analysis? I would submit that I haven't seen a cost-benefit analysis anywhere. I've not heard anything about a cost-benefit analysis.
It's called safety and...
So my point is that on each of these resolutions, you say that you find the above elements to be true, and I'm concerned that they're not. For example, there's the comment made on 1318 that there's $1,500 or $150,000 every year in discretionary money. Where did you get that figure, and what's the evidence that supports it?
Your own manager said you have $230,000 actually in discretionary.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to make my point, and you can respond as soon as I get through. Thank you.
All right, you got 2 more minutes.
But the point is that there is no such discretionary funding like that, because the district does what's called enterprise budgeting. I would recommend that you allow the district to respond to this in writing, and then you may take whatever action you please. But I think that there are going to be some concerns about who's responsible for what is going on, particularly with the lighting, because there was a legitimate election held concerning that. And for example, you throw in that lights are still flickering. Well, lights flicker, and you call the power company, because they control the lights and they come out and fix them, typically. And if they don't, then that's their responsibility. But to have the state attorney general swoop down on your local district, I'm not sure that that's a remedy that does anything but create more controversy. I think answers is what you would like, and that's what you need.
If I may.
I think these allegations and
okay, so
comments could be responded to.
So my understanding is you would request a chance for the Rosamond Community Services District to respond to our proposed resolution as it's written now.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
About a year and a half ago, after the Memorial Day, when we had a huge sandstorm, a lot of people in the community were upset about it, and someone wanted to blame the solar power companies. So what the RMAC did was we discussed the matter, and then we decided to bring in each one of the power company, the solar power companies, in to address the public on their concerns. In this particular case, when it comes to this resolution, that was not done, and I was in agreement with Mr. Gibson here that what we should do first before passing any resolution regarding another agency is invite that other agency in to speak on the matter, get an agenda out in time for the members of the media to post it, so that we can get the community to come in and voice their concerns. This should.
So you want to make a motion to table this until you made a motion to open it for discussion. You want to table? You made it to table?
Well, the thing. Let me finish it. The thing is, these resolutions to me are premature.
I understand.
Due to the fact that I think that it would be in our best interest, not only in the RMAC's best interest, but in the RCSD's best interest, to invite, to invite them here to a forum in which the people can voice their concerns and see if the resolutions are a concern, and if not, then we should not, have a resolution on this at all.
Okay. So do you want to move to table this item? We can always change the name of it, but basically, I think we should keep it. Let's just do 18 first. You want to table 18 to next month?
What I would like to do is basically put, not to the next month, but what I would like to do is put 18 aside until we can invite the RCSD.
The problem with that is they're going to turn the lights out, Willie, if we don't do something.
Hey Willie, excuse me guys, can I make a comment?
Yes.
The lights that are talked about, maybe we got a few things mixed up. We have arterial lighting, which is lighting down the major boulevards, and the major streets. And we have lighting within the lighting districts. The lighting districts are what the community voted on, and each community voted to turn the lights on and leave the lights on. So maybe we're getting the different lighting issues mixed up. But what I will offer up to, for some clarification, we can bring that information, either the GM or the attorney, Mr. Gibson, can come back and do that. You can tell me, if you let me know how you want to present it, we can bring it to you. But I think he said the lights are going off. The zones that were voted, they will have the lights off, but that's not the same.
Wait a second. If they're going to go off, we need to
Olaf, can I finish the full thought before you stop me, please?
Go ahead.
Some zones or tracks will have their lights off.
Why?
The people in those areas voted for them.
No.
Okay, Olaf.
Your duty is to keep the lights on as long
Olaf,
as
okay,
you're collecting
see,
$1 a
we're
month
not
on
going
it.
to debate this, but I would say,
We are debating it. It's on the agenda right now.
Willie.
Excuse me, this is a period for public comment. You're not supposed to interrupt the public.
It's not a period for public comment.
So what we can do,
Public
I
hearing,
can
no,
bring
no.
it, I can have the GM or the attorney prepare a presentation for your board, and they can hear it. I think what's happening, Olaf keeps saying that the lights are going off for
You just told us they were.
those
You told us they are.
particular tracks that voted.
That's something that we're concerned.
Community voted in those particular tracks, the lighting zones. Those that voted no are going to have their lights turned off at some point. I do not know a firm date for you, but I can research that and we can bring it back to you. So the resolution, when you present it, it's clearer and it's supported by a lot more defined facts. So if you like that, Mr. Gilbert, I can work on that and bring that back to your board.
When the development came along in 1989 to 1992, those developers came to the RCSD saying, here's our plans, including the streetlights. I remember Mrs. Speed vividly saying, well, I think you need a street light here or another street light there. The Rosamond Community Services District provided input on where the street lighting should go. Those people then became customers and paid $1 a month for street lights. That happened again with the next boom that happened between 2004 and 2006. All those new housing tracts. I think Mr. Wood indicated that he lives in a housing tract where the streetlights issue was turned down. All those people have paid for it. All those people were included on, were voted on by the Rosamond Community Service District to provide street lightings, and that includes the dollar budget. If you're saying now that you need all $60,000 for artillery of street lighting, I think that's being disingenuous. I don't think that's true.
I didn't say a particular dollar amount. I said the $12. But what I'm doing,
And I guess my question.
I can bring the information to you, and your board will have the full information, and you folks will look at it.
And what I perceive happening is, like you set up 43 different districts in the community size of Rosamond for streetlights. Obviously, many of those districts didn't agree to be blackmailed into voting to have streetlights. You asked for different prices for different areas.
You know, Mr. Earl,
Hey, let me finish speaking, talking.
Landsgaard, no, I'm going to.
The point is.
Thanks, Your Honor.
The point is that, for example, in Rosamond Sky Park area, it's 31-5. They voted no. My office in that area, I know the price on that was very, very steep. Other areas were very closer to adding $1 a year to the street lighting. And those areas are the ones I believe that passed. For you to say, well, I'm going to be punitive, and I think that's what I'm seeing, and that's how I perceive it, that you're punishing the people who didn't pass the street lighting by saying, well, you didn't listen to us, we're the kings, you're not. we're gonna take your streetlights out.
Well, when you say
That's,
neighbor,
hey, that's my
I
perception.
know your perception, but in my neighborhood, my neighborhood's going dark. I got outvoted, okay? You know what? That's what you live with.
Well-
But I'm saying, let me bring information back to your board, so you're all looking at the same documentation, so you can make your resolution as fit with all the same information.
And one of the things I'd like you to look at is the overall picture. Now you have, I guess technically, money coming into those areas where they voted to have street lighting. And you still have $60,000 a year coming in on the $12, on the $1 a year, $1 a month street lighting bill. Is that enough money without any augmentation from the special money that comes in for property tax? And that Mr. Perez, as you know, stated at the last meeting, I heard him say it's $230,000 virtually of all which goes to Parks. Goes to Parks and Recreation.
When we get the information for you, I'll have it delivered to you.
And I need to know, why did
Write down what you need, write down what you need, and get it to us.
specifically, I need to know why.
Write down what you need.
When Supervisor Scribner was made aware of these resolutions, he just wanted the board to be clear. He already let Olaf know. So real quick, I just want to read you guys a real quick thing from the bylaws of the RMAC. The council may represent Rosamond when authorized. The council may represent the community of Rosamond to any state, county, city, district, agency, or other organization on a matter concerning the community when authorized by the supervisor of that district. So he wanted it to be clear to the board that he does not authorize the Rosamond Municipal Advisory Council to bring a resolution to the state.
Thank you.
If you guys would like to bring a resolution to the county, that's within your purview. But he does not authorize a resolution going to the state from the RMAC. And that's all I wanted you guys to be aware of.
Let them understand the repercussions. Maybe point to some of the other jurisdictions around that have had that, because I know Palmdale went through where they had a few districts fail when they tried to go through it, and they allowed them to revote and basically inform them that your lights are going to go out, and once your lights go out, Edison will come in at some point in the future, remove those street lights, and if you want them back in at some point, it's going to cost you X amount of money per street light to put back in.
So Bart's council is required to provide input to the Kern County Board of
You know, since he's got the camera on it and there's voiceover, I want to hear this. This is objectionable, and this gentleman, the secretary, over the objections of his own board, is reading what I consider a slanderous resolution, and that was going to be addressed in my comments to you folks. I don't believe these are your words. And when you hear the facts about litigation, you're going to find out it's the words of this gentleman and your illustrious attorney secretary.
And I made that perfectly clear at the beginning of the meeting on who wrote these.
I would also
Let
make it
me
clear
ask you
that
this, Mr. Gibson,
that
while you're here.
1319 is not an RMAC resolution.
Mr. Gibson, did you in fact get rewarded for bringing an action against the Rosamond Weekly News by being hired as the Community Service District Attorney?
I'll address that. Let me give that answer. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, which will not be reported as you hear now, 4 years ago, this gentleman brought an action in Superior Court, Kern County, on behalf of this gentleman,
You're
Joyce
misstating
Speed.
the evidence here, sir. Did you not bring, 4 years ago, did you not bring a motion
Just
to
Absolutely, let me finish, let me finish.
in response to that?
They brought a motion to have the paper here adjudicated countywide.
No, that was done in 1988, sir.
That motion was denied. And I'm going to respond to this. I'm going to ask the board to allow me to respond in writing. I'm going to send you my files that are filed with the Superior Court. You'll be able to see what went on.
We'll be happy to look at it, sir.
There was a finding under the California Code Section 6000 that adjudicates papers for general circulation in a county,
There was a county with 6,000.
that it must be printed.
Let him finish, please.
It must be printed and published in the county, and that it has to have certain circulation. Well, the judge at that time, in a ruling, found that not only was it not printed in Kern County, nor published in Kern County, they didn't have the proper circulation to be allowed a paper of general circulation. Now, let me tell you what that means. That means you can get money from the county, from the state, from individuals who need to publish legals in a certain area. We had asked that my client, which was Gatehouse Media from the Midwest, asked to have his adjudication from back in 1988 set aside because he presently didn't meet the requirements. My motion, the motion by my client, was denied. My clients then went to the county officials and asked that the judge's ruling be recognized, and nothing was ever done. So then a second client, because I'd been successful earlier in stopping their motion, asked me to file a motion, and that client was involved in a business in which he could profit. One of the reasons you have these county adjudications is so the money stays in the community. It doesn't go over to Sylmar over here and get printed, or wherever Mr. Joyce prints his paper. And we'll have evidence of where that is in the future anyway. But that motion was denied, but without prejudice, meaning the judge essentially invited us to bring the motion one more time, and that was because he was concerned about res judicata and collateral estoppel. Yesterday morning, this gentleman and I were in court in front of a judge with the same question. He's now looking at the law that's been cited by both sides. By the way, my opponent
Isn't it true you
simply attacked me?
Let him finish,
That
please.
Mr. Joyce spoke up in a public meeting about the skate park. 2 days later, you filed your motion. Is that true?
That's irrelevant, and it doesn't have anything to do with this. I don't have anything to do with the clients in the ordinance out here. My clients are in other locations, they're in other cities, and they have a right to have people act like they do.
Didn't the judge ask you about your client? They can't go for a vote on this? Is that even in it?
You're lying right now, so let's just stop you.
I'm lying right
And
now.
I don't want you to interrupt me. Your representations have been incorrect. The problem that you got here, folks, is this gentleman is using his position and the influence of the only paper he's got in town to start a fight, not just with me, they're using me too as an attack weapon to get this on his feet. And it's running well, and he is a decent, honest man. And I'll tell you, if you investigate my law firm, and I invite that, you'll find that we are a decent, honest law firm. We do not promote unethical or illegal positions by any client. And our clients have been the best clients. Chevron USA, Mobil, the car manufacturers. I've represented every hospital on the coast. We do not file lawsuits. We typically defend. The facts are clear, and they are, as I said. I'm going to make the same request. I'd like to allow you to let us respond to this resolution. And I know you didn't write this resolution.
Sir, I don't think it will be necessary. Sir.
No,
It will
I
not
don't
be
think it's going to be
necessary.
Well, I can tell you, what I was going to warn you about it. You know, don't become a puppet in a private fight. This is between my client somewhere else, and not me. This man knows that under the canons of ethics for both attorneys in the state of California and the bar, the United States of America, that an attorney cannot be painted by the position of his clients. But it does not mean I agree with them or disagree with them. It means that I will advocate for them in an adversarial situation. I'm a litigator, that's what I do. But I can promise you, I've never had evil clients that I've represented. I've only represented cases that have merit, that I do believe my clients have rights and they're going to be protected. I don't think this gentleman right here can say the same. I don't think he's had the scrutiny that a firm like mine has had over the years. And I'll tell you what, the Board of Supervisors don't want to get bogged down in this personal squabble.
Mr. Gibson, I really appreciate your comments and your time. I think the board's ready to vote on this.
Yes.
Thank you. Excuse me. Well, you know, you hit pretty hard right at home when you start calling us unethical or not.
Right. The only person here on the RMAC that has anything to do with this particular resolution is Mr. Landsgaard. So if you feel that you're slighted in any way, I do, on behalf of myself, Dan Spoke, who's not here, Mr. Wright, Mr.
Mr.
Finch,
Gilbert.
we do apologize. That is not something that we were going to support. Now, in regards to Resolution 13-19, I make a motion that we dismiss this resolution.
You want it off the table?
I want it off the table permanently.
Well, it'll be off the table. You can make a motion to, I don't know.
I dismiss it.
Mr. Gilbert, is this still public comment, or
We're voting for it right now.
If you don't mind, I have a motion to dismiss from Mr. Gilbert, and do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those, 3-1. Motion carries. Resolution 13-20. Request a state and county intervention in placing sewer bills on the tax rolls without a Prop 218 hearing with express purpose of increasing fees, that is taxes to owners who have not been using the sewer. That particular case, if I can explain that to you shortly, which I didn't get a chance to explain the resolution 1319, which you just dismissed, but anyway, 13-20. If you may recall, Mr. Webb wasn't present March 26th at the RCSD meeting, but he was able to vote from San Diego or some other place. Sacramento?
Anaheim.
Anaheim. But the bottom line is, if you've had a chance attending the Rosamond Community Service District meetings recently, the last meeting, they had a follow-up resolution to the sewer tax issue. And that resolution said, you know, we made a mistake on March 26th. When we said put everything on the sewer tax bill, because that it had an overly harsh impact on the mobile home parks, because it said any vacant lot still has to pay $39 a month for sewer tax. And they did the right thing there. They said we're not going to put all those vacant lots on the sewer tax. But the problem is that just shows that what they did on March 26 was something that should have been addressed through Prop 218, because in fact what they were doing was increasing the tax burden on places like the mobile home parks and other places where people who are not using their sewer. For example, if a property goes to foreclosure, if a bank owns it, and it's not being used, there's no beneficial use of the water such that it's going back in the system. So they treated all things the same. And this resolution is to ask that the state look into how that March 26 vote came about, number one, and number two, the impact of that vote. Is that something that they can go then and say, well, we made a mistake here, made a mistake there, and try to patch it together so that it meets up with something without actually meeting the letter of the law, which is Prop 218.
I would like to comment again, just make sure. That was not the instruction. The instruction
I talked to Supervisor Scrivener today.
I work for Supervisor Scrivener.
Regardless of what you might think, you don't run the meeting here.
I know I do.
Okay.
I think Olaf is another. I just want the directors to be clear.
I understand this.
On what the supervisor they serve under feels he would like them to do.
He asked that we, like you said, he asked that we send anything we do here, whether it's letter form as was suggested, or whether it's by resolution, that only go to the Board of Supervisors only. That's my understanding. Am I wrong?
Not my understanding is that I don't want to argue. I just want to simply inform the directors. Supervisor Scrivener does not want any resolution approved that would be going to the state.
Okay.
You can approve any resolution if you want to send it to the county.
Okay, that's what my understanding is. He wants it just sent to the county.
But if you
And
slam it in
therefore
a
also
resolution,
the verbiage.
Yeah, we'd have to change the verbiage if we're going to get down
Director
to that.
Gilbert or direct any, same person. Yeah, I know. You know, I understand the resolutions. I understand the concerns. One was brought up about the sword. Where I was at when I voted, and I guess that's become a concern. If you tell me the information you want, I'll supply the information you need. That way, whatever the resolutions are, at least they'll be reflective of good information. Not challenging all often, it's not a challenge to you, so you just misquoted some information again about the sewer with the mobile home parks. I know that you're very versed at what you do, but I think you overlay a lot of different subject matter and you lose a lot of it. I'm really surprised that this is my community and we sound like a high school football team ready to go on the field and beat the hell out of one another. I'm disappointed at all of us because we are better than this. I've been in this community 20 years, which I'm not a veteran of, but we're haggling over things that you want to make a point for, your board's going against you, and I want to give good information so we can have good information. If we've done something wrong, like I've said at my meetings, we'll fix it, I'll fix it. Interestingly enough, when you talk about your resolutions and what we've done, you never ask why they were done, you just say they were done. And then you put a period on the end of it. And you've become noted for that, so let me bring forth good information to your board, please. So if you folks want to have a resolution, the supervisor's office is going to come down on you folks, not on me. That's not fair to you. I know all you folks, Mr. Finch, recently, but I know all you folks. We're all working for a cause. I think our causes are getting diluted, so let me supply you folks with good information. You can make value decisions based on good information, because Olaf just misquoted a meeting about a resolution we did vote on, but he misquoted the way the resolution was presented. Taxes, they said you can put assessments. That's a sewer fee. We keep calling it a tax, it's an assessment. So let me bring you good information. We'll have someone from our office do a presentation, package it as best so you guys will have good information, because that way, I don't want to see people I know and I have respect for going after one another. I've had, everyone's going after one another, and ultimately it's for a piece of paper because someone put words on it, and that's not fair to none of us. Well, all we're doing is dividing Rosamond that much further. We've divided this community more in the last year and a half behind people with agendas. Now, I'll tell you guys this, and I mean sincerely. My daughter graduates next year from Rosamond High School. If I move out of Rosamond then, I won't look back, because we are immature. Several years ago, when I was on that same board, we talked about becoming the city, and the guy said we didn't have the maturity. You know why we don't have the maturity? Because adults play like little kids in a sandbox. We bicker over bullshit. When my baby graduates next year, if I'm out of Rosamond by then, it'll be too soon, because we've lost sight. This was a good community, but personal agendas that these folks have is wrong. So I would ask the board, give my board a chance to bring you good information back.